Test. Test. Thank you. Can we go on the record? Okay, we're on the record in case number 9682, Temo Renewables, LLC's application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct a 9.9 megawatt solar photovoltaic generating facility in Wicomico County, Maryland. Starting with the applicant.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Bugleman's on behalf of the applicant. I'd also like to enter the appearance of Mr. Maxwell Cook as co-counsel.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Steve Tolson, Assistant Attorney General, and I am here representing the Power Plant Research Program.
Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Sammartino, Assistant People's Counsel, on behalf of the Maryland Office of People's Counsel.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Hunter Davis on behalf of the staff of the Public Service Commission.
Okay. Mr. Bugleman, do you have any exhibits?
Yes, Your Honor. What I would propose is we could move all of our exhibits in, and then we could go to our witness if you have questions.
Okay. Are we starting on 2?
I believe at this point we have 2 exhibits in evidence. The first is the Certificate of Compliance with Public Utilities Article 7-207C1 and 2. The second one is the Certificate of Publication for the pre-hearing conference. So the first new one would be Applicant Exhibit 3.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, moving to the first exhibit, please tell me if you would not like this in evidence, but the CPCN petition, September 22nd, 2022, 9 pages.
That's fine.
Just for completeness, thank you. Next, Your Honor, as Applicant Exhibit 4, it's the original environmental review document filed in this case, also on September 22nd, 2022, consisting of 65 pages.
Just for my own edification, what's the point of doing the original and then the red line and then the...
Just to have a complete record and, show the original application. And, obviously you have the revised document with red lines. We just want to be complete with what we move in.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is Applicant Exhibit 5. It's the environmental review document appendices, also filed on September 22nd, 2022, consisting of 1,096 pages.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is Applicant Exhibit 6. It's the response to PPRP's administrative completeness review from the applicant that was filed on November 14th, 2022, consisting of 37 pages.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is Applicant Exhibit 7. It's the applicant's response to the notice of deficiency that was filed on November 21st, 2022, consisting of 3 pages.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, Applicant Exhibit 8 would be additional FAA correspondence from the applicant that was filed on November 29th, 2022, consisting of 27 pages.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, to be marked as Applicant Exhibit 9. It's the certificate of publication for the first public comment hearing that was filed on January 22nd, 2023, consisting of 11 pages.
What was the date again?
January 26, 2023. Did I say the wrong?
No, that's the certificate. There's a certificate of publication on December 15. Is that when you said a certificate?
That's Applicant Exhibit 2, Your Honor.
Okay.
And that was for the pre-hearing conference. The one I just tried to move, assuming the date is correct, is for the first public comment hearing.
When you started, you said something about a certificate of compliance. That's 7 in the docket. So we have no, I'm confused.
So what I'm attempting to mark as Applicant Exhibit 9 was filed on January 26, 2023 under mail log 301035.
I have that.
Okay.
What I now need to do, though, is go back and clarify 1 and 2.
Okay. Your Honor, Applicant Exhibit 1 is the Certificate of Compliance with Public Utilities Article, Section 7-207C1 and 2, in Comar 2079-0202.
Docket 7, 10-10-22.
Yes, yep. That was filed under mail log 242589.
Okay.
And then applicant exhibit 2 is the certificate of publication for the pre-hearing conference that was filed on December 15th, 2022. That was mail log 300517.
All right, sorry about that.
No problem. We have a lot of exhibits here. So next up, Your Honor, to be marked as applicant exhibit 10. It's the clean version of the revised environmental review document that was filed on February 14th, 2023, consisting of 64 pages under mail log 301298.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, to be marked as applicant exhibit 11. It's the revised environmental review document red line version. It was filed also on February 14th, 2023, consisting of 69 pages.
And you want that marked as 11?
Yes, Your Honor.
So marked.
Next, Your Honor, to be marked as applicant exhibit 12. It's the revised environmental review document appendices, also filed on February 14th, 2023, consisting of 1,113 pages.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, to be marked as applicant exhibit 13. It's the direct testimony of Dane Bauer. It's filed on February 14th, 2023, consisting of 11 pages under mail log 301298.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is applicant exhibit 14. It's the direct testimony of Muthana Bumade. It was also filed on February 14th, 2023, consisting of 4 pages.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is applicant exhibit 15. I'd like to mark the notice of exemption to appropriate and use waters of the state filed by the applicant on February 16th, 2023, consisting of 3 pages.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next to be marked as applicant exhibit 16 is the certificate of publication for the second public comment hearing in this case, which was filed on June 13th, 2023, consisting of 10 pages.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is applicant exhibit 17. We'd like to mark the settlement status update, which was filed on June 15th, 2023, consisting of 1 page.
We can mark it, but why is it coming in?
Just for completeness. If Your Honor believes you can note it without it being in evidence, we'd be fine not entering it. But just try to be complete with our exhibit list.
Yeah, I don't think we need that.
Okay. So we'll skip that one. And then finally, Your Honor, as applicant exhibit 17, be the second public comment hearing sign affidavit, which is filed on June 21st, 2023, consisting of 6 pages.
Okay.
And that concludes our exhibits. We respectfully request to move applicant exhibits 1 through 17 into evidence.
Okay. 1 and 2 are already in, but
Okay,
sure.
then 3 through 17.
And there's not going to be any objections because of the settlement status. So applicant exhibits 1 through 17 are in the record.
Thank you.
Is that better? Sorry, my apologies. Did you want to proceed with your first witness, Mr. Buglemans?
Yes, Your Honor. We have Mr. Dane Bauer here virtually. We appreciate your flexibility with this, and we're working with Mr. Bauer to address this issue for future cases, but we really appreciate your flexibility for this one. If we could approach, Mr. Cook could bring the laptop up to the witness stand or
Okay.
whatever you would like.
You guys can see him here?
We can see him.
Okay. Did you want to do your
Attestation or?
voir dire? I would assume he's alone because you're here, that you're not with him.
That is true, but I also have to attest he's not with anybody else in the room.
You
So
can go ahead and do that.
I hereby attest that Mr. Bauer is alone by himself in a room and not in communication with any other individual.
Okay. Now, did you want to?
And then with respect to voir dire, we moved everything into evidence. So I respectfully, I don't think it's necessary. But he has all of the exhibits in front of him to answer your questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Bauer, can you hear me? What's he coming out of? Can you say test?
I think it's those speakers, Your Honor. So
The ones that weren't plugged in?
Can you, Danny, could you please say test? Look, say it again, please. Is that better?
Test again, Mr. Bauer. You got it?
Thank you.
Mr. Bauer, section Roman numeral 1, subsection F of the ERD, which you sponsored, indicates that Temo Renewables consulted with Wicomico County prior to filing the application. But that consultation, that merely consisted of sending them the draft environmental review document, correct?
We also talked to Clark Meadows several times over the telephone. He's the county zoning.
Prior to filing?
I believe we did that in the context of confirming the zone.
I'm not getting it.
No? Okay. Let's go off the record for a minute.
could just put it.
We could put like maybe one of those speakers, one of these mics.
I'll put the mic by the box.
Right up here. You can hear him in the room, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear him on the. He's not coming in with this system.
Mr. Ballard, would you mind saying test again? But you can't hear him on. But probably if we put a mic there, it'll get better.
Yeah, would you have a mic that you could put here?
Yeah, we just moved it. So,
This mic?
no, that's not a mic. That's a camera. Don't move that. Don't move that. Put that back. Put that back. That's a camera, not a mic. We'll just use a mic.
Speakers are from this machine, they're going through the system, the audio system.
Okay.
So,
Could you say test again, please?
We did. It didn't get appreciably louder. No.
I think another possibility is we could turn on the speakers on our laptop and then just position our microphone next to it.
Okay.
Just it's another option because
I
that'll
think we're gonna have to do that and mute here, so we don't get the feedback. Try it again. Was it not on before, Connie?
Can you please say test again?
He did. You don't hear.
I heard
So-
something that time.
it's gonna have to be muted on that computer.
All right. He's muted now. See if this is better.
Dan, are you able to speak? Are you able to speak, Dan?
Yes, yes.
Oh, our speakers are muted. This one.
He just said yes, yes, yes. I heard that. That's good.
Now? Right. Maybe don't do you. One more time.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear him now. That's good.
That was coming from this computer. So
No, he's direct.
okay.
No. Can you mute that? Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. I don't hear an echo. Thanks, Cleve. Okay. Can we go? Are you ready to go back on the record?
Yeah.
Okay. At page 21 of the ERD, the fourth paragraph at the bottom, it says, furthermore, this project will contribute to the stated goals and objectives of section 7202 of the Public Utilities article. Do you have that in front of you? Oh, no. No one. Can you hear him? No? Hold on, Mr. Bauer.
Do you want me to turn
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
mine on? Then we're gonna have to turn that one off.
I know, and I think I'm muted. Try.
Are you able to speak, Dan?
Yeah, I'm able to speak.
Okay, so that should work.
Okay.
I was looking to see what page you were referring to.
21.
Okay.
And it was the last sentence of paragraph 4. Did he not hear me?
I think he.
Can't hear me.
I don't know if he knows that there's a question.
Okay. Mr. Bauer, can you hear me?
You're correct, David. I don't know what the question is.
Are you able to hear the judge, Dan?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. You're on page 21 of the ERD?
I'm on page 21, yes.
Fourth paragraph, last sentence. I'm wondering what you meant by that sentence.
To be honest with you, Your Honor,
We would like you to be. Actually, hold on. You need to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, I do.
Okay. Now, proceed with your answer.
So, I believe this particular section is standard in most of our ERDs, and it was generated in consultation with Gordon Feinblatt some years ago.
Okay, I can ask Mr. Bugelmans what this sentence means then.
Okay.
Mr. Bauer, did you review the PAR?
What was that question again?
Did you review PPRP's project assessment report?
I did not. And I don't have a copy of it.
Are you familiar with the concept that the applicant is going to use its Morris Road mitigation bank to meet the reforestation?
Yes, I'm familiar with the Mars Road Bank.
Okay, are you also aware that the use of existing forest in tree mitigation banks will be restricted after June 30, 2024?
Yes, I am.
Can you tell me whether that date is related to the start of construction or start of operation of the project?
It's unclear when the project will go into operation or start construction. All the dates that we have in here are estimates. I do know that the applicant intends to use the forested area remaining on the project to place into a conservation easement if the bank is either unsuitable because of the residual that may be left at the time, or if we will go past the date where we can't use the bank.
If you go past the date, what do they plan to do?
If we don't meet the June 24th date and we can't use the bank, the client has advised that he will offer to place trees on the site, the residual trees on the site, into a forest conservation easement.
And that would be sufficient?
Yes, we're looking for 22 acres.
Would that change the size of the project, the arrays?
No, no.
So why not just do that to begin with?
The worksheet, as I recall, said that the forest mitigation requirement was 22 acres, and there would be more than that left in the wooded area on the site. If not, they would make up the difference by paying into the county's mitigation bank fund.
A fund separate from the Morris Road Mitigation Bank
Yes.
that has no date restriction?
The Mars Road Bank, for any reason, we would do a combination of using the trees on site and or pay into the Comico County Mitigation Fund.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer.
I turned off the sound on this laptop, so that'll stop the echo.
Okay, thank you. You can still hear me, right? Okay, can we proceed to PPRP's witness?
I do have a follow-up question.
Oh,
Your
I'm
Honor.
sorry. I didn't know that that
Really?
would generate any. I didn't envision. Sorry.
Well,
Go ahead.
Just a quick, let me turn this back on. Mr. Bauer, are you able to hear me?
You're echoed, but I can hear you.
Okay, we'll have to live with the echo here. Do you remember Judge Lawrence's questions about the consultation with the county?
Say complication with the
Consultations with the county. With respect to those, well, with respect to that consultation, did the applicant meet with the county?
We did not meet with them. We had phone call conversations with Clark Meadow.
And do you recall if that occurred, when that occurred with respect or relative to when the applicant provided the draft ERD to the county?
It would have been before and after. When we have dealt with this county on many projects, and we have established a relationship with Clark Meadows. So whenever we're doing a new project, we give him insight that we're working on a new project, and we always ask him up front if we understand the zoning correctly. And his response is he checks with the zoning, and then he typically sends us an email that says whether or not the project needs a special exception. And he always responds, if you're getting a CPCN, you do not need a special exception because they honor the preemption language in the Public Service Commission Code in Wacomico County.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. I have no further questions.
Now on to PPRP.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Court Reporter, may I ask you to provide this to Judge Lawrence so she can track my exhibits, please? Your Honor, we, on behalf of PPRP, we have 11 pre-filed exhibits that were filed on June the 8th, 2023 under mail log number 303412. I will list them for identification and then move for admission. PPRP Exhibit 1 is simply the Assistant Attorney General's filing letter. PPRP Exhibit 2 is the State Secretarial letter is signed by the Secretary of DNR, Josh Kurtz. PPRP Exhibit 3 is the State Secretarial letter signed by the Secretary of the Maryland Department of the Environment, Secretary McElwain. PPRP Exhibit 4 is PPRP's recommended licensing conditions. PPRP Exhibit 5 is the direct testimony of Sean Seaman, who is the project manager for PPRP for this particular CPCN. PPRP Exhibit 6 is the direct testimony of John Mosheim. PPRP Exhibit 7 is PPRP's project assessment report. PPRP Exhibit 8 is Appendix A to that project assessment report, which is selected data requests and the responses. PPRP Exhibit 9 is Appendix B to the PAR, and that consists of glare analysis. PPRP Exhibit 10 is Appendix C to the PAR, which is the environmental justice screening. And PPRP Exhibit 11 is Appendix D to the PAR, which is the ACS report, which also relates to environmental justice screening. So with those 11 exhibits marked for identification, I would like to move for their admission into the evidentiary record for this proceeding.
What happened to the secretarial letter used to look different?
Well, for some reason, we weren't able to get them both signed at the same time. I don't know if it was a DocuSign thing or whatever, so we have one signed by one secretary and the other, but you put them together, and that's the secretarial letter. So,
Right, but it used to be 7?
well, it used to be 7, but we've reverted to filing following Natural Resources Article 3-306, which only requires the Secretary of DNR and MDE. The other 7 are still consulted, they review everything, and they comment on it, but they're no longer, they never were required as signatories, and this is just simply reverting to the original statutory scheme and streamlines the process and prevents delays.
You know how I feel about your filing letter?
I'm sorry, what, Your Honor?
I think we've discussed before that I don't feel as though your filing letter is evidence.
Yeah, it's really not. The only thing it does is you have to be represented by counsel at these proceedings. I guess that's a documentary record of who the counsel is. If somebody from the public or whatever is looking into the case, Jack,
Didn't you separately file your appearance?
I'm sorry, what?
You entered your appearance, didn't you? in the
Yes,
beginning?
yes.
Yeah, so I don't think we need the secretarial letter.
Well, in the future, then that'll save us an exhibit.
Okay.
We'll start with the state secretarial letter. Also with me, if those are those admitted, Your Honor?
PPRP exhibits 1 through 11 are admitted into the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. And with me today is Sean Seaman, who is the project manager for this CPCN. I understand that you may have some questions for him, so prepared to have him take the stand if you want me to.
Please.
Voir dire.
Well, you don't have to since Mr. Bugelmans did not.
Okay, we'll just have him sworn then.
Connie, you doing that? You want me to do that?
Could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly affirm under the penalties of perjury that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
My name is Sean Seaman. First name is S-H-A-W-N. Last name is S-E-A-M-A-N. I work for the Department of Natural Resources Power Plant Research Program, located at 580 Talls Boulevard, Annapolis, Maryland.
You have to press the button.
It looked like it was on. Sorry.
Yeah, it does.
You want me to repeat that, I assume?
Yeah, could you please?
Yes. My name is Sean Seaman. First name is spelled S-H-A-W-N. Last name is S-E-A-M-A-N. I work for the Maryland Department of Natural Resources Power Plant Research Program, located at TAW's Office Complex, 580 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland.
Actually, before I ask Mr. Seaman questions, with respect to PPRP Exhibit 4, Mr. Towson, is PPRP waiving 7-207D5, Romanet 2?
Is that the,
Commission shall allow each state unit 15 days after the conclusion of the hearing to modify the state's unit's initial recommendations.
yes, we do waive it.
Okay, thank you.
I note, Your Honor, for the record, that I believe that provision relates to the public comment hearing as opposed to the evidentiary hearing. And since we have 2 public comment hearings in a lot of these cases, I'm not even sure where that 15 days runs from anymore. Maybe the second one, which was held on, I believe, the 20th of June. So, but we waive it in any event.
Mr. Bugelmans, I need to come back to you. Don't let me forget.
I won't, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Seaman, your glare analysis, I think it was page 78.
Did you say 78?
I think it's 78. You found 2 instances of potential for glare along 2 of SBY's runways.
I'm sorry, where is that on page 78?
Yeah, let me see. Hang on. So it's the second full paragraph. PPRP undertook a glare analysis of the project.
Okay. And what's the question, Your Honor? Sorry.
Yeah, hang on a second.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. My apologies. I'm not finding in my notes where I saw that. Do you recall that, though?
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, maybe it's in the airport section. PPRP's analysis did not identify any glare potential at the Salisbury Regional Airport's ATCT, but found 2 instances of potential for glare along 2 of SBY's runways.
Yeah, what page is that on? Yeah, it is covered in 2 different sections. I was gonna.
That's okay. That's what I'm not finding.
But that's a different page number, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry. Page 41.
That's okay. Thank you.
First full paragraph. And SBY is the Salisbury Regional Airport,
Right.
correct?
Okay. And your question is?
I'm trying to understand what happened to that potential glare issue because of the conclusion on page 78 that there's no glare issue, basically.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is not clear. This was done under my direction or my supervision, I should say, probably. I may need to get you a better answer. From my understanding, and it's not very clear here, I think is what you're pointing out, is that the glare that was modeled for the SBY airport, I believe, and I have to go back into the actual details of it. There are different types of glare, and I think this is, I think that was analyzed and not determined to be a risk, but I'd have to dig into this a little bit more.
How do we want to handle that, Mr.?
We can file a supplemental response, Your Honor, if that, we can probably resolve this fairly quickly.
Yeah.
A letter response, if that's adequate. Consider it a bench DR.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'm just trying to help. We conclude that later in our report. I'm
Right.
pointing out that it's not very clear in here, and I understand why you're asking the question. And I think I can do a better job of answering your question if I'm allowed to have some time and talk to folks who actually run this model.
Right. That's what
Okay.
we're going to allow you to do.
Yeah.
And that
Okay,
would, I
thank
think,
you.
just clear up.
Yeah.
What
No,
we
it's
think
it's a safety issue. I would like it to be crystal clear. Yes. Or a potential safety issue, I should say.
As I understood your testimony and also the PAR, I think what you were saying with regard to pollinator habitat is that Maryland has a goal and this project isn't doing as much as it could to meet that goal. Is that correct?
Well, the program is voluntary, so they don't have to plant pollinator habitat. And then Maryland has an overall goal. And do you have a page number on that?
$15 or so?
15.
Yes, 15. State of Maryland has an interest in creating
Right.
pollen.
So in the end, what we're trying to do is encourage the applicant to plant pollinator habitat, especially in things like buffer areas, in order to help the state meet its overall goal.
I thought you made a statement to the effect of it really wouldn't take much on the part of applicant to comply. Because then you say, PRP finds that this generic approach will have a minimal contribution to the state's goals and will not mitigate fully for the loss of agricultural land to the project.
Yeah, right. I think the point of that sentence is that this project is small compared to an overall state goal, and even the voluntary planting that they may or may not do will have a minimal impact on that state goal.
Okay. But in your opinion, there's nothing more you can do to encourage it since it's voluntary?
Yeah.
Do you have any more information about the banking issue and the reforestation?
I not necessarily. As you probably have already realized, our section on this is a little bit of a word salad as well, because there's a lot of moving pieces to this. The Forest Conservation Act is roughly like 30 years old, and I think the state legislature is going through a process right now of modernizing that. So there are some things in flux based on dates, which you identified earlier. Without knowing when the proposed solar project would be constructed, it's hard to, in a report or in a condition at this point, be specific about the requirements of the FCA. So what we did is we revised the condition, made it a little more generic, but kept the backbone of it, which essentially says that because FCA is delegated to the counties, the applicant must satisfy the FCA through the county as part of this project. And then kind of irregardless of when the project's built, that will, those requirements are in place. At whatever time they go to construction, there's whatever requirements in place at that time will be in effect.
Okay. And to your knowledge, that's the date is the start of construction, not start of operation?
That's a very good question. My understanding is it's date of construction, but I'm not sure we know that. That's one of the things that we're trying to figure out through the process of this.
Okay. Are you able to confirm the information that Mr. Bauer stated, that there's likely sufficient trees on the site to provide 22 acres of?
So I was at the site. Definitely appeared that there were 22 acres available. That was not included from what the boundaries I was shown. Unfortunately, the figures that I have available to me right now are very small scale, and I don't think I have anything really to do a mathematical, what I'll call back of the envelope calculation for you. But yes, I believe there are, from what I've read in here and from what I've seen at the site visit, it appears that there's at least 22 acres of available forest. Now, whether or not that would be accepted by the county, I can't comment on that.
I found the statement I might have been thinking of earlier, page 19, the first full paragraph. PPRP also noted that the proposed project could be developed and maintained in a positive way that provides benefits to wildlife with little cost to the project.
Yeah. Do you want?
Is,
Sorry, go ahead.
just to clarify, is that sentence saying they could do more than they're doing?
I see this sentence in a lot of our reports. And I think what I'm trying to get to is it's not only specific to this project, but yes, that's what we're trying to encourage is things like pollinator habitat, which we believe is a low cost, high benefit measure that can be taken, although not required, could be taken by the applicant.
Just making sure I have no further questions.
I'm in no rush, Your Honor. It's okay.
I took notes in two different places. So. Thank you, Mr. Seaman, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I'll look forward to your supplemental response.
And Your Honor, if I may just have I want to make sure I understand, what you would like to know is how were those two glare problems that were mentioned resolved?
I don't know if resolved is the right
Yeah,
word, but
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to nitpick the word. I think I understand. So, I
we
think the
went
best
from
way to
having a
describe.
potential issue to
Right.
a conclusion that it's
Yeah,
all good.
exactly.
I want to know how we got
You
to that
you want the
conclusion.
path from we noticed potential glare impacts at the
To
airport.
no problems.
How do we get to no mitigation for that?
Okay. That's, I
Right,
just
is
want to
that-
make sure I know what we're
Yeah,
answering,
yeah.
so
I think he knows.
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, I think I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bugelman, we're going to come back to you so I don't forget.
And I apologize about the phone. My state phone's turned on. My personal's turned off.
So,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you want me to repeat the question?
I think your question was on page 21 of the revised ERD, trying to make sense of the reference to section 7-202 of the
Yes.
Public Utilities article. So I looked at section 7-202 after you asked your question to Mr. Bauer. It appears that's a portion of the code about effectively, potentially the state can purchase sites for power plants. The best I can make of it is if you look at the sentences before that reference, it's talking about Maryland imports a significant amount of its electricity, 41%. Project will reduce reliance on out-of-state resources. So I think it's referring to that idea more generally that the commission should be interested in encouraging in-state generation. That's, I think,
Are we going to probably do better with that in the future?
I agree, Your Honor. I think I appreciate you pointing that out, and it's a loose reference. I'll put it that way. So I acknowledge that.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Sammartino, I understand that OPC filed a letter in this case, has no testimony.
And that's
Does-
correct, Your Honor.
Does OPC recommend this project move forward?
OPC has no objections to the project nor the proposed licensing conditions, Your Honor.
You have no objection. Do you recommend the project be granted a CPCN subject to those license conditions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Davis,
Yes, staff
How are
has pretty good. How are
you have a witness?
Yeah, staff has one witness, Roger Austin.
Please.
Okay, do you solemnly affirm under the penalty of perjury? Please raise your
Yeah,
hand.
he's got it.
Do you solemnly affirm under the penalties of perjury that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
Roger Austin, and I give you my business card. Would that be sufficient?
Sure.
Mr. Austin, your testimony at page Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Can you
Enter-
enter
yeah.
his?
So staff has one exhibit, Staff Exhibit 1, which is the direct testimony and exhibits of Roger F. Austin, filed on June 8th.
That'll be marked as Staff Exhibit 1 and entered into the record.
Thank you.
Okay, so Staff Exhibit 1, your testimony. At page 1, at the bottom, you state that the purpose of your testimony is to make a recommendation regarding the issuance of a CPCN and the project's effect on the reliability and stability of the electric system in the state of Maryland. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I didn't see a specific conclusion with regard to the second part. The reliability and stability of the electric system is not. I'm just wondering if, as you go through your testimony and you talk about the different documents, interconnection documents, are you saying that those satisfy that? I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, that, I guess, that's a good point you raise. We probably need to do a better job of that in the future. Yeah, PGM does these studies. We rely on PGM to determine the effect the project will have on the reliability and stability of the electric system in the state of Maryland. And by completing those studies, we are satisfied that the project will not have a negative effect on the reliability and stability of the electric system in Maryland.
Thank you. I wanted to just clarify that. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything else? Anything else we need to address today?
Did you move to admit Staff Exhibit 1?
If to the extent he didn't, it's in.
It's in.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you, though. We have all exhibits in, and I have, the order should come out, proposed order, within a few days, since PPRP waived. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
We're adjourned. We can go off the record.
Bye, Dan. I'm going to log off now.